be assembling these shovel heads today. First thing we do, well, we've completed all the machine work on them. This is the one you might have noticed before. We replaced that fin. We've also put 3-bolt exhaust flanges on them. And basically what we've done up to this point, we wash them up. The last washing they get done in the solvent tank, and you know, we use these brushes to you know, clean out every little crack and crevice and thread and hole and, you know, that kind of thing. We blow them off, take all our parts, blow all the parts off and wash them, and we're ready to, you know, we're ready to start boogieing here. We're going to put this stuff together and let you guys get a good look at how we do it. We've got our own little method here. We like to use this cardboard box because it keeps all the parts right in my face. They don't go taking off, and you know, I can find everything. I've got all my chemicals laid out and lubricants, tools, etc., whatever we need. So we're going to start doing it right now. First thing we do is I'll put a little assembly lube on the valves. This is some of our favorite trick, again, is the key word here, and this stuff really is. You can take that Kindle 70 weight, which is probably the best oil money can buy. You put some of this in, put about 15 or 20% of this stuff in it, and the friction test goes up like about 3 to 4 times higher than it would with a lot of these other assembly lubes. We're really impressed with the stuff. We do friction testing on all our lubricants, and that's how we stay on top of it. Take the stuff and we put it all over the valve stems like that. For the camera, I'll just show you like this. This is going to take a few minutes, but this is by far one of the most important parts of the job. Okay, after we got our valves lubed up, we take the Kindle 70 weight again. Got a little in a squirt can here, and we put some in the valve guide, a couple of 3 drops like that. You might see me wiping my hands a lot. This when I'm assembling a set of heads, my hands, you know, got to be clean. I don't even want one little piece of particle or anything on them, so I'm wiping them constantly. Don't let that bother you. Okay, we take the valve. In this case, it's the intake first. We stick it in there, and we rotate the valve as it's entering the valve guide. We just push it on through there as we're rotating it around. Be sure all the lubricant gets all over the guide. Like that. Work it up and down a couple times, make sure it feels good. Okay, next step is, we already know what we've got for clearance and measurements and all that sort of stuff, so we can just basically go for it. First you put the bottom collar on, and we put our little sleeve on here so we can install our stem seal. Take the stem seal, slip it over the little sleeve, and it goes butt up against the guide. This is our stem seal driver here. We put that on, and now we're ready for the last thing on the list. These steel encased stem seals have a tendency to come off the guide, and what we do to avoid that is we put a little more of this green stuff on here. Just a couple drops will do it. Let it run around there a little bit. Like that. Turn it up so the seal stays centered. Everything is just fine. And there we go. That's the first seal on. Okay. These guys are getting set up for 550 lift. We already have got all the clearances checked, but here's my handy dandy ruler, just so that I'm sure. There's an easy 550, looks more like 570. So we got no problem there with that clearance. That's one of the clearances you guys need to check if you're assembling your own. It's a critical clearance. Next thing you do is take the valve spring. I like to turn the spring till I get the sharp ends on it, so when I take my final measurement it's easy to read. Try to center this up on the valve, especially with these aluminum collars, because like they have a tendency to hang up, and this one's doing it to me right now. There we go. Okay. And when you're using aluminum collars, you have to check to be sure there's no little shavings of aluminum left. There's one right there. There's another one right there. Get those guys out of there. I can loosen up just a little bit on this spring compressor. Maybe a little bit more. I like it so that when I slip one key in there, it stays. Slip the key around, just a little bit of pressure to hold that key in place, like that. Okay. We're taking a close-up here of this key installation. It's really not a big deal, but you can see how we adjust the spring compressor to hold one key in place. It's really easy when you do that, and you just slip the other one in. These keys are they're made to fit real tight, actually, in this groove, which is good. That should do it. Let's let it loose. Take the spring compressor off. Okay, and I'm going to give it a little whack with the hammer just to make sure everything's seated. We got our variety of hammers here. This is one of our soft hammers, just to make sure everything is seated there. We take the ruler just to double check on ourselves, and what we're looking for here is about 530 thousandths, which we've got, inch 530 to be exact. And so we got to focus this time on this ruler, huh? See how nice and easy this thing is to read? This is the guy that tells me if I'm off by 5 thousandths. Okay, that one's done. Okay, now we go for the exhaust. Put the Kindle there in the guide. Take the valve, stick it in the guide. Rotate it around like that, making sure the oil gets all around. Wipe off the excess. Push it in and out a couple times. Again, the fit on these things is 1/1000th on the intakes, 2/1000ths on the exhaust. Slip the lower collar on. It's the same procedure. We're going to go through it a couple of times here. Once we get started, there's really no way to stop except turn the camera off. Put it up there like that. Put the driver on. Take the green stuff. Put a little green stuff on like this. That's plenty. We take the head and we hold it upright, making sure that the collar stays in the center. Take the hammer. That's it. Nice. Okay. Here we go with another spring. That. Check to make sure there's no debris in here from the collar. Stick the keeper in there. it doesn't stay, then we back off the spring compressor a little bit to make it stay. Back off a half a turn, see how it likes that. Nope, it's no big deal. There we have it, folks. Another one ancient 530 dead on the money. Just the way we like them. Okay, this guy is pretty well put together. We're going to go for another one here in a minute. Just sit it up there in the toolbox to get it out of the way. Okay, now that we've got our valves in place, springs and all the other little parts, we're going to put these flanges back on. This is the copper base high temp NECs that we like to use on all the threads that get really hot. We're looking for a mark on this guy. There's my R for rear. Just a little bit will do you. This stuff is a lifesaver as far as threads are concerned. Threads just love it. So you can see how nice they go in there. And it'll stay on there a long time to come. We fit these things pretty tight. In fact, okay, we've got them loosened up a little bit. We worked the lubricant into the threads. We fit these things so tight that they will not leak. There's almost no way to make them leak, but they are a little, you know, tight to assemble the first time. So let's do the other head here real quick. Let's see how this one goes. Also, I need to put a mark on here. They get one more mark. Oh, you're looking at that fin, huh? You like that fin, do you? Well, that's one we put on. That's why it looks so good. Okay, let's go back to the mark. Okay, here we go to the mark. We're going to remark these things, so when you guys go to, you know, put them on the pipe, that you know where they go. We'll remark the rear. And of course we're going to do that here on the front one in a second. Let's see how this one fits. See if we get lucky twice. Take a little bit of the NECs, put it on the bolts. See why I like my box? Nothing gets lost. We don't like to lose any little parts. And it's real easy to lose little parts, especially when you're working in a machine shop. Okay, here we go. Front. That means it goes like this. Well, I like it like that. That was nice. Okay. Mark it again. The blue line, magic marker. Check the F for front. And the next thing we're going to do is resurface these guys. We're going to cut it here in a second and pick up back at the resurfacing table. You're looking at my first toolbox here. It's kind of a novelty item. I bought it from one of the guys that worked at Crane when I was there back in the early 60s. He made it by hand, and I kind of keep it for a, you know, like I guess you know, keep something you really like a lot. Has a lot of meaning to me. Harvey Crane's responsible for all this head work indirectly. He's the guy that taught me how to do all this stuff.